Get it? The Bert Show.
Time to get buzzed on the hot goss from Hollywood with Abby. It's the Bert Show's entertainment buzz.
Oprah Winfrey is talking about one of her biggest regrets of all time. So she is expressing some remorse in the role that she played when it came to diet culture. So she was doing a Weight Watchers live stream event, and she was talking about a moment that happened years back. This is 1988. She's in the middle of doing her show, and she said there was a segment where she pulled out 67 pounds of fat in a wagon.
I remember this.
I do too.
And she says she feels incredibly embarrassed by this moment.
I've shared how that famous wagon of fat moment on the Oprah show is one of my biggest regrets. It sent a message that starving yourself with a liquid diet set a standard for people watching that I nor anybody else could uphold.
She said the very next day she began to even gain that weight back. And we know that this has been a struggle for Oprah, and she's recently come out about using some weight loss drugs to be able to keep weight off. And she quoted Maya Angelou. She said, Maya Angelou always said, when you know better, you do better. So these conversations are more of an effort to do better. So she's learned a lot from the experience. Okay, I want to talk about my girl Zendaya, because we've seen a lot of her in the last couple of weeks, from the Challengers press tour, where she was rocking so many outfits that felt very reminiscent of like old school tennis vibes. I've seen so many interviews of her where they're not even really talking about the movie. They're just like, girl, like your outfit looks amazing. And her stylist, La Roche, is doing a lot of interviews as well, talking about what it's been like to style her and turn her into the Gen Z fashion icon for this generation. And he mentioned on a new podcast called The Cutting Room Floor that she actually got rejected by all of the major fashion houses when she was rising up in her career. And so now he has a very hard rule that Zendaya doesn't get to work with these people. Huh? So the 5 major fashion houses are Chanel, Saint Laurent, Dior, Gucci, and Valentino. And Valentino is the only designer that's been able to break through and actually work with Zendaya. And that's only because they did like an entire campaign specifically around Zendaya. They're like, okay, we'll make an exception if you basically make this entire thing about our girl Z.
Oh, no. But you throw enough money at somebody, they'll find forgiveness in their heart.
That's where it is. Okay. This ties back to the Mother's Day thing.
Yeah, so maybe just start asking your mom for money. Maybe the forgiveness will be found there. But yeah, you will never see her in any of those 4 other brands, Gucci, Dior, Saint Laurent, or Chanel, which is such a shame because I think Zendaya could really pull off like a Chanel tweed outfit really well.
Did you forget Gap in there?
Oh, yeah.
There's 6.
Yeah. The Gap. House of Gap. House of Banana Republic. All right. Jerry Seinfeld had a really cool commencement speech for Duke University over the weekend, and it's getting blown up all over TikTok. And he says some really interesting things that I'll get into in just a second. But he did have a moment to ask for forgiveness from the audience. So maybe we can decide here whether or not we want to forgive him for this unforgivable moment. So he apologizes for the B movies sexual undertones in the film. He says, if any of you felt slightly, again, this is Duke University, one of the top schools in the country, him giving the commencement speech. He's talking to these future leaders of America. He says, if any of you felt slightly uncomfortable about the sexual undertones in the relationship between Barry B. Benson and Vanessa, the florist who saves his life, I would like to apologize for that now. I may not have calibrated that perfectly.
My kids loved that movie. We had to watch it over and over and over again. And I don't ever remember going, ooh, that's a little bit adult. Never.
No, I think a lot of people make jokes about it where it's like a lot of people will joke that their adult awakening happened during the B movie when they're like, oh, maybe this B's got it going on. But he also said something really interesting that I think is a bit more profound than his feelings about the B movie and maybe some of the mistakes he made there. A lot of people, when they're talking to college graduates, say, find your passion, find what you're passionate about. But he said something that I think is way more practical, and it's actually very profound. He says, don't find your passion, find your fascination. Find things that you're fascinated with that make you want to try new things, because it's better to swing the bat and maybe miss than not do anything at all.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Find what fascinates you
rather than what you're passionate about.
What you're
Because
You're not going to know what you're passionate about until you explore things you're fascinated by.
Exactly.
Interesting.
yeah, I feel like and not to be like I said it first, but I feel like I've said that to people for years, because I think when you get to a position where it looks like you've quote unquote made it, people are like, what do you do? How do I find what I'm passionate about? I always just said, do things that you like and then just follow that road and see where it leads you. Because at some point, it'll get you to a point where you find what you're passionate about.
Did you DM Seinfeld and say you've been saying that for years?
Yeah,
Did you hit him up?
Stole your swag ball for ball.
I just didn't want to make him feel bad. He'd be like, who is this girl with like 5 followers trying to tell me what I just told people at Duke's commencement?
Hey, wisdom can come from a lot of different places.
Exactly. All right, Stevie Wonder says the rap feud between Drake and Kendrick is supposed to distract you from something else. It's on your next E-Buzz on The Bert Show.
Get it? The Bert Show.